Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with his plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Welcome to Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek. I'm Mo, and every week I'm asking today's most captivating artists how they got their acts together. This show isn't about their best or most famous work. It's about the work that means the most to them, their creative process, and why they make their art. This week's guest is a comedian, educator, and mental health advocate. You know her from her work on Comedy Central, IFC, True TV, PBS Kids, and beyond. More networks. That's not even a network. More of them. She recently appeared in the comedy special Dead Moms Club alongside Bob the Drag Queen. She's opened for Nicole Byer on her national tour, and she's in the midst of preparing for her first TED Talk. Education. Status. Please welcome to the pod, Christi Somers. Ready, set, show.
Yay! That was so beautiful. Thank you for all those nice words.
Babe, it's your resume. You know what I mean?
It's nice. I really am I do that thing where if I'm having a bad day or if I'm feeling low, I really will straight up list things that I've done to remind myself that I've done things because there's just so much rejection and so much hardship in this business that sometimes it is nice to just see it on the page or hear it back to you and be reminded oh, I have done things.
Oh, 100%. And then I'm also coming from the stand-up flyer disease where it's if you was stood next to somebody who maybe once was on SNL, that's your credit. And it's I didn't earn this. So have I earned anything?
It is so true. A million years ago, one of my first jobs I was in a music video of Aquafina's on MTV's Girl Code.
Absolutely. Yes, you were.
So if you look it up, I am in that. And I was a featured part in the music video.
No problem.
But when that came out, I did a show at New York Comedy Club and the host said, "You'll recognize her from MTV's Girl Code." And I'm no, they won't. I didn't speak. I was in a 2-minute segment on the show. So it's so misleading. You're
But it's what they all, and half of them are just say it, you'll get there. And it's it's true. But at the same time, it's it's not low self-worth. I'm not that.
Right. Right. And it's context matters. So that's so funny. But I hear you.
Not to capitalism.
I feel the same way.
Capitalism, it's it's a guy will make an iPhone movie on his phone and say he's a director. And so it's okay, all right. Okay.
I know. And I feel comedy and, I guess the arts in general, it's the only job that you can do that. I can't just put in my Insta bio that I'm a surgeon. It's well, actually you're not. It's for comedians.
I went to the OR. Yeah.
I've been to a hospital.
That's so true. You really have to market and fake your career constantly.
Right? You need to earn these titles where we can just give ourselves them. And it's interesting because I feel the culture has changed so much to where I think when you and I were coming up, there was a lot of oh, you have to earn it and you pay your dues and you kind of grind. I hate that term in that sense. And then
cut your teeth is always what they say. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you kind of, there were these like, you know, our predecessors that we would try to like role model or follow in their steps. And there was some kind of a path for how to do this. Now it's like the wild, wild west. I think like, especially during the pandy when the
Pandy Express.
yeah. The Pandy Express. It became like, you know, with the TikToks and
yeah.
It's so different now. And I think that really speaks to, you know, the people that are just like, hey, I'm a comedian because that's what I call myself now.
I know. I think it'd be easier for me to digest if we just give it different names. Because I think like the art form of comedy itself does require to, you know, be in spaces and fail with people. And so it's not that I don't think I am obsessed with TikTok comedians and all these different things. I think it's so legitimate. But the idea that it is stand up, I'm like, well, we need a new form label then. Like,
yeah, I think it's equal parts frustrating and confusing, but also a little bit empowering and like emboldening, because stand-up used to be one very specific thing. And now all the lines are being blurred between like comedic storytelling or like absurdist surrealism and like experimental. It's all under this umbrella of comedy, which like is kind of cool because you can literally do whatever you want and call it comedy. But go ahead. But it's like a little frustrating too, where it's like, okay, is this, you know, the subjectivity has never been more subjective.
Is this, and at the same time, it's like when you're coming up, it'd be like, are you going to go to JFL characters or stand up? Your stand up's a little storytelling, so could you do this? And it's like, oh my God, fucking let me do whatever I want. And so then like it is that nuance, and like everything's so black and white, so you can't be like, I'm complaining about this thing that I also think is really good, that it is changing. Like,
yeah. It's so, and I feel as though, and this is such like, are you a millennial?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
Tried and true. You and I are like very similar millennials. Like we lived a millennial life, you know what I mean?
But well, it's so funny because like the millennial trajectory where like we were the last people to like play outside until the streetlights came on and like drink out of the water hose. We didn't have social media. Like that applies to comedy, where we're the last generation
100%.
Where, like, there was just like, if you wanted to succeed, you had to like do a late night or like get a Comedy Central special at like midnight. And now it's just so we are the last generation to see success sort of the old way.
And it's the same way as a millennial. Like, listen, if I hadn't bumped my hair like this with 800 bobby pins and sprayed it all to hell for 5 years, I wouldn't be who I am. I love that I've done these things. I love that I've messed up in these ways or had to do those things. I love it.
I am such, and I know we say this to each other, and like, I am such a fan of yours. I think you are a singular sensation. So and I'll always remember, and I might butcher it, but I'll always remember.
I know which one you're going to say because it gassed me up so hard.
There was one. Okay, well, I don't know though, because there's a few, but there was this one like set you did. I want to say it was like Over the 8 or something. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Over the 8 in Brooklyn, where we spent too much
cut your
time.
Teeth, mama.
But you had one joke that I don't remember all the specifics, but it was like, I guess you were like, growing up, someone called me something, and maybe it was like dramatic or over, I don't know, it was something like dramatic. And then you're like, and my entire life has been one big reaction to that. And I just thought it was so like, am I butchering it?
I'll tell the joke. It's so funny to me though, because it's like, you know, like to me, like I feel like gifted in the comedy way, because you know when people want like 1,000 laughs or whatever, but it's like if I were to have gotten like a you laugh, like a River laugh, a Tim Platt laugh, it's like I'm locked in for the rest of my life, no problem. I'll tell that joke forever, even if no one laughs. I'll tell it forever. Because I think I had like tape of that, of like either over there or when you were doing at the Stand or something, or that one. I think you were hosting a show and I might have done it there. And I just in the back, I hear your laugh going,
like, yes, I love that joke.
Well, the joke was in the 4th grade, a teacher called me Sarah Plain and Tall. And I feel like my entire life has been one giant overreaction.
I think I think it is so brilliant because it's like, and I think you did it as like an opener. And I think it's so smart because it's not saying, hey, I know what you're all thinking. Here's the elephant in the room and I'm going to acknowledge it because that's what an opening joke does. But it does such an amazing job of literally summarizing your entire persona in a few words. And I think it's so like your whole set, it's so true because it's like, that is like the thesis statement to your comedy. And I just think it's so smart. Also, my cat just like walked through the door. So sorry about that. You might see some cats. Just.
Oh, you're joking? If I was home right now, Vanya would be like licking the screen. Like,
I love your Vanya content so much.
That was another joke that I have a tape where I just hear you laughing. Again, nobody laughed when I got a parasite from my cat. I was like, I think the joke was like, I'm not worried about being famous because I beat the odds all the time. I had a 1 in a million chance of getting a parasite from my cat and I got it. And then literally, and people are on this pod, like slowly you're starting to get, I know, stand up through episodes and it's kind of like, what?
It is so, I feel like we're very like-minded creatives, and it's so interesting because like your partnership with Tim in a lot of ways
with River
mirrored my partnership with River, and it was just so, I wish that we have gotten, and I know it's so easy to say this, but I would love, and I mean our lives aren't done yet, but I would love to like collaborate with you in an art, because it's surprising we haven't done that yet.
I feel like it was just time because you and I both were, I would say, like dancing in an alt world and also doing more stand-up in a more traditional world. And I get what you're saying of like, I wish we had, like we will, but I wish we had too in the time when it was messier, and like it was easier to, because for listeners, and we'll get to, I'm so excited for listeners to hear about the project that's upcoming, but Christi also dances between like that sort of subversive performance art and traditional stand-up, and like sewing your own identity into it, and like using, like I do, right, like using the expectation of what I am looking like on stage. Like you use the expectation of your light voice to then be like this theater actor, and also you studied acting. Like there's so many layers that I find to be so exciting, and that's why I love that you're working in this more educational TED Talk space, because I like your work because I can talk and enjoy it more by talking through the layers of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's very fun, the things you weave in and the spaces you occupy very easily. Because Actors was this project that River Ramirez and Christi worked on years ago, but it was essentially, it feels like a British comedy. Like it was like the most serious actors. And it was one of the funniest shows. I think I saw it every time you put it up. I literally would like run down and like not even say hi. But I loved it because it was so subversive. It was so serious, but it was so like done with love and funny. But then your stand-up is like so, this is what and now I'm going to hype and then we can get into his space. But I loved about your stand-up is that all of us, when we'd be going to open mics, like, you would be very regimented. You would have woken up and written new jokes and tried it and gone to the mics. And Anna Farega and I would always reference back and forth with text. Remember in one of those open mic Facebook groups, you put a picture of Danny Kane. It was like it was like me and my girls rolling up to the open mic. And it was like, we in the club.
We ride slow. And it's like, they always got room for our names in the bucket. Like
it was killing me because it was just so fun. And it was also a time where it was like, that was not the vibe of the open mics. Oh. And so, okay, so listeners have a little bit of insight into the multi-hyphenate, faceted Christi. Now I'm so excited because you're moving to a space where there's a TED Talk, where it's like you're getting to talk and break down and teach, but also do this. So will you give our listeners a too long didn't read on your TED Talk or what you can talk about with that?
Yes, I am so excited. It's been a goal/dream of mine for a few years. And I started to teach comedy kind of by accident, but I really immediately knew how much I loved it because I'm such a student of it. And I love like comedy theory. I love discussions
The math
around,
of it too.
yes, and around why we laugh at what we laugh at and humor in general and how people use humor differently, whether it's to just have fun, to heal, or to just like survive a family dinner. It's like, it's such a lifeline, and it's I'm just so grateful for it. So I started teaching many, many years ago, and I'm proud of sort of the education that I've built around comedy. And I really try to look at it in very specific ways and try to break it down in very tangible ways, because so much of the education around stand-up specifically is a lot of like, well, go home and write a set. And it's like, well, what does that even mean? What are we doing? What are we writing? What's the goal? Like what?
Yes.
And when you first start out, it's like, okay, well, like just the expectations around writing a joke were so difficult for me to understand that I felt like I spent 5-6 years just figuring out how to connect with other people who wanted to write a joke, but had no clue, A, how to do it, B, even if they did know the technique behind writing a joke, how the fuck are they supposed to know what they want to write about?
Yes.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
So diving into the education has been very, very enlightening and meaningful for me. And so I knew I wanted to give a TED Talk. And at first, I'll be honest, okay? And I'll be honest that I'm not like proud of this, but it is honest and vulnerable.
Love it.
As I've been growing as an educator, I thought, okay, like a nice kind of next step in my career, and I've seen a lot of TED Talks, could be to give a TED Talk to sort of establish myself as a thought leader, so to speak, in this space. Which isn't wrong or bad, but I think I honestly, it's like wanting the thing to get the credit. Like I wanted to do it before I even knew what I wanted it to be about. It's like saying, I want to do a one-woman show, and someone asks you, awesome, what do you want to do the show about? And you're like, I don't know, but I want to invite everyone. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but I think there's a nuance there because it's where a lot of people who are like you don't do it, because there are folks who just want to be like, have the notoriety and respect. I think when you have that goal in mind, you want to be that person. And are understanding that with that goal, that the road will then lead you to become that person. Because otherwise, like, what is specific idea of success and fame and respect? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, let me just be that. And I relate to that because this whole podcast, right, is like breaking down people's process. Because when people were like, I just put something on the page, I'm like, the fuck that mean? Like, what?
Yes.
And I want to be an expert on the stuff I've struggled my whole life to understand. Like I have worked really hard to understand what people mean when they say something and they assume everyone else is doing the same thing. And I think you're doing that and enjoying it and turning what could be a struggle or a misunderstanding into a skill and helping others with it. So while I understand what you're saying, where like there's that worry of like ego, well, one, sure, be famous, be rich, be whatever. Be respected, be a thought leader. Like, but I think you want to be one because you know what that means you have gone through.
It's really nice. Yeah. I mean, I love that. And thank you for saying that. And like, that does resonate and that feels good. And I think that it's been really interesting to land on what it's going to be about. And it's so funny because we talk about how, beginner comics will be like, what the fuck do I talk about? And now I'm going to be like a beginner TED talker. And I'm like, what is this? Do I want to be? And ultimately I landed on, I think my biggest takeaway from being a comedian has been that comedy has, for me, been this like, and I think for a lot of women, and that's a big part of my talk, but like comedy is this radical act of confidence. And it's through sort of resilience. So my talk is going to be write, speak, bomb, repeat, confidence through comedy.
I love this.
And it has some personal stories because I have quite the track record of failures, of missteps, of not getting the thing, of blowing an opportunity. And I think for me, it was learning that like you hear comedy and you're like, oh, the point is to be funny. The point is to get laughs. But funny is so subjective, and that's not the point for me. The point for me has been what comedy has built inside of me.
I love this.
Like that's the point for me is what it has taught me and what it has built and what it has shown me and how it's shown me myself.
Is that something along the way that you were like recognizing though, or is this upon reflection?
Definitely along the way. I think I think that at first I had a very unhealthy, unsustainable relationship with comedy. And that's how I treat comedy. I treat it like it's a relationship because I have been like an artistic creative my whole life, and I will be my whole life, but I'm in it for the long run. And I want to make sure that I always love it. That's my priority.
Interesting. I like this. I really like this perspective of like, comedy boyfriend. Like
it's exactly like I don't want to burn out. I don't believe in hustle culture anymore. I don't want to burn out. And you and I, especially coming up, you mentioned it earlier, like there's the new faces. Like when I first got into comedy, I didn't know what Just for Laughs was. And then there was 2 years in 2016, 17, where all I cared about was becoming a new face of comedy in Montreal. And then it took years for me to look back and be like, I never even wanted that. I just thought I needed it.
And you were in an environment where everyone was telling you, if a man in a fedora doesn't love you, you'll never succeed. And you're like, okay, got it, no problem.
So, which should have been a red flag in and of itself. I mean,
that's the arbiter, got it.
Never mind.
Heard.
But it's so true. And it's like, I had a really unhealthy relationship with it. And I had a really difficult time with it. Like there were times where I think where it really hurt me. Like comedy hurt me. It wasn't good for me. It made my life hard. It was hard for me to, it wasn't hard for me to make friends. It was hard for me to keep friends.
Interesting. Can you explore that? Because do you mean like, because I understand the expectations you have out of comedy then, right? Your success, your wealth, but like keeping friends, does that involve competition or your focus or your lack of ability to be present? Like, how does that look?
I think it was, and thankfully I've moved away from that. So like some of my closest friends are comedians and artists, but years ago, I think it was a combination of competition, not always competition like I wanted to be better. And it wasn't always on my end, but it was just, it became so convoluted and it became me and my friends. We would be out for similar opportunities and
Of
similar
course.
jobs. And then you're happy for your friend, or your friend's happy for you, but then your friend is thinking, well, fuck, why didn't my agent get me that audition? And then it becomes, like, congrats, but I'm sad. And I had a very difficult time, because I think I've always struggled with expectations, but like being like, well, why aren't you happy for me? And why can't you support me? And why, when really, you know, sometimes it's just hard. It was just hard for them. Also, and now I'm spiraling a bit, but the last thing I'll say is like, it's so personal and so vulnerable. And I know you can relate to that, because I feel like your art is the same,
Very much
where
so.
it took me a long time, even though I looked like no one would ever know this, because I could take constructive feedback. But it took me a long time to not like internalize it and beat myself up. And I'm a big perfectionist. I have had negative self-talk in my head, just, you know, cruel. I would be cruel to myself.
It's an easy survival though, and it's an environment and industry that supports that type of coping.
Yes. And it's like a combination of like feeling like you're in this pressure cooker. And I think our millennial stand-up, it was more like, we really were like rise and grind, you know, sleep when you're dead, like you're not doing enough, because we could do 8 shows a night. But it took me, God, a decade to learn that for me, because everyone's different, but for me, it has to be about quality over quantity. And I think what's different too, and the thing I will say is, I learned a lot of lessons. Like the big comics at the time when I were coming up were a lot of cis, straight, you know, white men.
Yes.
And they would preach this, oh, you got to go and do 5 mics a night and then a show. And I thought I had to do that. But the reality is like, and I encourage everyone to, like I said, have their own relationship with it, because I've been on stages since I was 4. I don't need practice being on a stage. I needed practice writing my jokes, or like being more like, I didn't need to just get up there like some other people might. But it just goes to show that I was looking at everyone else to be like, oh, should I do that? Or should I do that? Rather than just thinking, well, what's right for me?
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
It's like, yes, but to me, it would have been an impossible feat. Like, it was like, there was so much pressure and so much language around, like, you know, doing it and like kind of offering up to the gods and like, make sure you did this. And if you have this credit, you can do this. And so then you on the side are like, let me go work with Ars Nova. Let me go at a silent bar. And it's like, on the side, you're doing it your own way. And so I think it's like impossible to, at that time, especially, there was so much pressure and so many like people rejecting you and saying, because I made me laugh. Like, our little sector and that little period of time is when people forget, like, all comedy wasn't in the mainstream, and they were bringing us in, and all of our friends would have 800 generals. And like, I'll never forget, like, I came to LA once and like I had a couple stand-up shows with a couple like big, you know, cis straight white stand-up guys giving me advice. And at that time, I was still doing like the really weird, anxious character where I'm like, oh, and they didn't know how to handle it. And so then I remember that like the next day I got a meeting, and it was for a major, what is it called? Not network. What are they called? Yeah, network. Yeah. And they were like, we would love you to write a script for us. They were like, we're looking for 4 Quadrant. No idea what the fuck that meant. I'm sitting there, I'm nodding. And so then I'm nodding and was like, and then they were like, we're kind of looking for another Keanu. And if you're thinking, Reeves, no, they're talking about the Cap movie that Jordan Peele. I'm not joking. I sat there in an executive's office and he said, can you get me another Keanu 4 Quadrant? A 4 Quadrant Keanu. And I'm sitting there going, yep, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, for sure. And so then I'm sitting here in the big bucks Hollywood being told this is the way to do it. You can make a movie. Someone wants you to. And so like, I have to give grace to all of us at that time because all of us literally have our Keanu meeting. Like it's, you know what I mean? And you're just like, this is going to be your thing. And if you fuck it up, you're out of this industry for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And it's like, well, I actually don't know if this is for me. But instead of saying this isn't for me, of course not, because there's no money. So, you go like, I'm bad at this. I'd rather say I'm bad at this than this isn't for me because I'm bad at this means there's still money on the table somewhere.
That is so true. And it's like, I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I wanted. I was a good performer.
Oh my God. Well, that's one thing about you too, though. Like, I bet you had this a lot because you were so magnetic on set. Christi, I need people to know, like, magnetic, just bubbly, and not in the bubbly personality way, in the like energy in the room way, where it's like everyone's kind of excited, like, what's she gonna say? And it's so fun. And so like, I'm sure you were also kind of victim to a lot of projection of that too, of like, she must be this.
Yes. And I built up my persona a lot more. I would amplify my voice a lot more. And then I would feel exhausted by the end of the night because I had to keep it up. And then
100%.
That's when I realized, like, after years of just like going home and disassociating, I was like, this is not sustainable for me. Like, I need, and aging gave me, you know what it was? It was like experiencing grief and trauma as an adult and the pandemic and getting a little, like I just turned 40, but like it allowed, for some reason, I needed those external factors to give me permission to slow down.
Beautiful.
It's nuts that it took like a global pandemic for me to realize that I could take a fucking beat. But I was like a hamster in a wheel that like this, but I wasn't getting anywhere. But I was just going and running on fumes.
Yeah, I'm interested in permission for you because right now you're like delving this all into the TED Talk, but I do think you're like, you do have your focuses. Like, you did want a partnership and you found a partner and got married, and you also have your faith that is really important to you. And that's a really good boundaried practice of yours. And so I'm wondering, like, what do you feel like there's certain spots where you give permission and don't, and like there's a reason to it that's conscious, or it's just kind of like this was the one focus that was intense?
Oh, that's such a good question. Like I think for so long, I would view boyfriends or partners as distractions. Like I was
really?
I would have some because I would have fun, but they were never, because I was a little trampy.
Party rock.
But they would never like be a priority for me. And I would pride myself on what I now see as some unhealthy habits and like an obsession around this thing. And I think that like, my husband has rocked my world. Like this is what I'll say. I think that I've like truly learned what, this is so cheesy, but like what unconditional love is.
That's a revolutionizing feeling. That's life-changing.
And I think as artists, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I think that a lot of my identity has been this sort of conditional, transactional of like, I'll make you laugh and make you happy and then you'll love me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Performance.
And I think, yeah, this like, and realizing like there is no part of the love that Dave and I have, no part of that's because I'm funny or because I'm a good performer. And that was crazy to me because I couldn't imagine that wasn't like the first thing somebody would love about me.
And it is that uncomfortable childlike push against of like wanting to be loved for something other than, but wanting them to love me for that. And it's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I have been on, I've been performing since I was a kid, and I knew that it would make people happy, and I knew that people would love to see me do it. And I think I don't blame like my family for, because I mean, I always loved it, but I think looking back, it did teach me some unhealthy habits of like, hey, when you do this, you'll get more love. And so it made me feel like I had to do it.
Exactly. You don't need to blame, but you can like source it and realize it's like, oh, maybe there is maybe an adult who didn't have access to self-reflection like I do, and maybe needed more boundaries and needed to like show me spaces where I could be this. And it's like, and you didn't get that. So you did learn that I get attention. I get whatever when I do this.
You know, it's so funny. I saw this thing and I can't remember where I saw it, and it haunts me because
Obsessed.
It was such a moment in my life that was like this moment of impact. And it was this girl, a daughter, who was maybe, I don't know, 20s, was talking about her family. And she was talking about her father. And she said that every Friday or Sunday when they'd have family dinner, the dad would go around, he would ask everyone around the table to share one thing they failed at that week. And they would celebrate it as like, you tried it. Good for you. And I remember hearing that. And never in my life have I so viscerally been like, I wish I had that. Like that would have changed. And I've taught myself that a bit as a grown up, the power of like how to do that. But if I had only had that as a kid, this pressure and the perfectionism, and you had to be perfect, which, I don't know. I mean, I think I do have a very healthy relationship with comedy now. So maybe it all worked out for the best in that sense. But it came from having an unhealthy relationship with it for a long time. Of course.
It's like, it's as above, so below, like, Anakin and Darth. Like, it's like your light only comes from the dark. And you don't have to have the darkest dark to be the lightest light. But like, you have access because of it. And I think you do. And I think that I'm interested to explore a little, because I think many people who fail in the transmutation process, right, in turning a pain into comedy, are people who can't grieve, right? Because you have to grieve the fact that you didn't get that. And it's nobody's fault. It's just grief. Or it's someone's fault and you have to let that go. And so you have so publicly, in such a tender way, been still funny, but authentically grieving. And so I'm curious how that incorporates here.
I think it like, it's difficult to like compartmentalize how it's like impacted like creatively versus personally versus physically versus mentally, because it feels so consuming. It was like, there was my life before this happened and there's my life after. And that person's not the same person as the before. And I think that, it's so interesting because like my mom, she was sometimes a little stage mommy. And that's like up for interpretation. But like she, she wanted me to do my best, and she would be, I think, sometimes disappointed when I didn't do my best. And that, there was elements of that. And I think that like I found myself after she passed, and I still do find myself being like, what would she like, especially around the arts and comedy and being like, well, would she want me to do this? Or would she like this? And would she like still wanting her approval?
Of course.
So I think
it's so human.
It taught me a lot about like, who am I doing this for? And I think just like realizing like, I don't know. It's so fascinating because it feels so self-indulgent to like, something that I struggled with is when I did a solo show about grief. And I remember when I was writing it, I was like, this feels like therapy. It feels self-indulgent. Should this all go in a diary? Like, why am I saying this? And it was so wild because I never once thought that when I was doing stand-up for 15 years prior.
That's so funny because you were comfortable talking about funny things.
All of a sudden, I'm like,
That's
the world
so
needs to know how I
funny.
feel about like hot dogs. And now I'm like, is this too self-indulgent? Like,
I love that. I love the self-awareness of that. Like how it is the same thing, but it's your own judgment.
Yes. And I was like, this is crazy. And it just puts things in perspective of like, I'm rambling, but it's like, it's also the why.
I don't think you're rambling at all. I think it's the why, but it's also like, who do you co-create with, right? Like, it's like, it's everything you're making is with something or someone. And whether whether that inspiration is the echo of a mother or the mother's current spirit, which maybe evolved with you, or you know what I mean? Like everything is that. And I think those are what I'm hearing in you is the permissions, right? Like grief gave you permission. This gave you permission. Would my mom give me permission? Like, it's like where, you know what I mean? Like it feels really tied.
Oh my God. 1,000%. And I think you just articulated that in such a way that's blowing my mind because it really is the permission to the point where and also I'm a Libra, which is funny because it's like scales and balances.
Happy season.
I am bad at making decisions. And I would call my mom and be like, what do I do? What do I do? Because I just wanted somebody to tell me what to do because I'd get this analysis paralysis.
Yep.
And even in terms of my career, in terms of everything, like it's a lot easier to have some agent or manager say, hey, you should do this versus being like, what do you want? And for so long, my answer was like, to make money. And it's like, but that's not an answer. Like, then go work at, be a barista. Like you can make money anywhere.
Well, I do that. I used to blame myself for like needing, I do need the back, like Libra moon emotions. I do need like the backboard of someone. And I used to like blame myself or worry that it was like CPTSD or anxiety or whatever. Like I can't make it, but yes, all the above. But I really like the practice of like, if someone I really trust, or I use like my tarot cards, I use like, or I'll flip a coin, or I'll pretend like, my therapist says, do this. And I watch my reaction to it. It's not that they said it, but it's like, did I feel relief when they said it? Or did I feel annoyed still? And it's like, if it felt relief, that's the choice I want. But I do need an externalized backboard. Do you know what I mean?
That is so fascinating though. That like that actually informs you of what you wanted anyway, is just based on your reaction.
And I genuinely didn't know. I'm not trying to like be obstinate. I'm like, no, I needed that to figure it out. Like I didn't know. I hate when people are like, you knew all along. I'm like, no, I needed help.
Oh, I know. That's the worst. They're like, you know the answer. I'm like, I know nothing.
No, that's
like when someone's like, trust your gut. I'm like, oh, the thing that betrays me every day. There's nothing I trust less than my fucking gut. Like,
you're sick. There's microplastics in my gut. Who am I talking to?
Oh my God. Oh, it's so fat. Yeah. Oh my God. I can literally talk to you forever. And I want to. And like,
Sister,
I really do. Because we can talk about everything. And I you're so insightful. And I know that this is like your podcast and you like ask people, but it's like, I also want to know everything about you. Like I want to like be the Mo in the podcast and then like switch.
Because we'll have a swap app. You can be Worse Than You guest hosted by Christi Somers.
Literally. Because like, I guess, could I ask you a question?
Of course, yeah.
Like, I know this about you. Like, obviously I know about your podcast. I know what your podcast is about, but before the podcast, just in general, why do you feel so interested or connected or whatever the word you like to people's creative process? Is it because has learning about other people's process changed your own? And why are you so fascinated by it?
Interesting. I think, well, one, it's always usually like people's process is always a way just to usually just talk about them. Because, and like see them, and I like people. And when people either think they do something one way or don't, it reveals a lot. And I think the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So people say they're one project, and it's like, okay, if this is true, what else is in the improv brain of it? So I like that. It's an easy way for me to understand people quickly.
That's so cool.
Well, I like understanding people because I also think the part that interests me is I feel, especially because I'm neurodivergent, I've always been trying to figure people out or pretend like I'm understanding the advice that everyone's supposed to be doing. And like a good example I give is like, I didn't see a sunset till I think I was like 12 because we were told not to look at the sun. So you look at the sun, you go blind. So I listened.
You were following directions.
I followed directions. And then it's like everyone, my parents, we were driving and everyone was like, look at that beautiful sunset. And I started crying because I was like, holy fuck, my whole family's going to go blind. And now I have to see for them. That's too much responsibility. And so, you can think that I'm a literal processor, I'm neurodivergent, but I'm going, no, you guys are nuts. Because I'm going, you said don't look at the sun. Why am I the crazy one? Why? And so I feel like my whole life has been that with so many things.
That story is literally plain tall girl in your life being an overreaction. That's
no, it is. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll change everything. I guess I gotta put this sparkly hat on.
I'm dying. That is so fascinating, and it's so true. And I love everything you're saying. And it is so interesting because how people answer this question really does tell them.
Because when people say do a shitty draft, when you start to ask questions, they don't mean what you think they said. So it's like, I would love to break down what that means. Because one, it could like make me feel better about my process. Or two, it can like help someone realize they are an artist, even if they thought they weren't because they weren't doing what they thought they should. But it's like, I'd be asking questions because again, people got to see sunsets before they were 12.
Yes. And I think so often, and it is part of like, it's also part of the fun of being a creative, but it's like, we're speaking in riddles. Like when people are like, yeah, I just like, I'm marinating on the idea and then I bring it to its feet and give it life. It's like, what are you
literally
even saying?
Exactly that. I'm like, and what does that look like?
Like, what are you talking about? And I don't even know if they know what they're talking about.
No. And they're so confident. Like, what?
One of my favorite thing, I did this thing like, not that one of my own things is my favorite thing, but I got really fascinated thinking about like the idea of an actress who an interviewer is like, so tell me about your character. And she has no fucking clue, but she's doing all that actor talk of like, she's larger than life on a small scale. It's like none of this.
I'm obsessed with this.
I love that idea because that is so equivalent to how everyone talks about everything in the industry in these riddles.
But it's all these weird metaphors. Yeah, it's like she cuts her teeth on soft food. And you're like, what the fuck are you saying? And then everyone in the room is like, wow, that's a badass lead.
Like,
strong female.
They're like, that is so deep. Yes, I get it. And it's like, does anyone know? And I feel like you in the back seat being like, you all told me not to look at the sun. What are we talking about?
And especially with acting breakdowns, it's such a specific thing. Because they'll be like, it's a so-and-so type. And I'm like, what part of that person are you wanting me to distill? Because I know I don't see that person the same way you do.
Yes. That is so interesting. It's also, dare I say, the laziest thing anyone
It's
can
so
do. Like, you
lazy.
can't think of adjectives. You'd rather just think, Kate Berlant meets blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, then come up with the words to describe that person.
Because they also like know, like if they'll say like an Aubrey Plaza type and I play a smart, like sarcastic woman, they're like, no, we meant an angry bitch. And you're like, okay, so you're hateful. and I'm not going to know that. And like, it's so crazy to me. And then again, it's whatever. And then people are like, well, make your own choice, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, but I think there's an issue with the way we're communicating.
Not to mention, I mean, that's a whole other conversation for like a whole other, because like the breakdowns of the characters for me became so like, it was so clear that like in my, when I first moved to the city, I was like 19 and the breakdowns were like young, hot sorority girl, parties it up. Then it turned into like mom of two, blah, blah. And then now it's
Wait,
like,
you had a stand-up set on the mom thing, didn't you?
I don't know.
On the mama edition. Well, you also had the
Oh,
voice
I might have.
I think it was like one era after the voice of Razor Bumps. Have you been paid for that when you tell that joke on here? Or are you keeping that one in?
I'm dying. Oh God. Like the more I think about it, the more like stories and experiences that I'm just like, how did I even survive any of them? Like the casting breakdowns now are like mom of 5 who has cankles and love donut. And it's like,
Must
what?
be real mom who loved donut with cake. It's like, fuck.
Like I'm like, are you trying to hurt my feelings? Like, is that the point of the breakdown? Is to hurt me specifically? Because that's what's happening.
And then it's like, mine is like the opposite where I'm getting those now, but like I got those back my early days and I was kind of like, listen, like I'm a former D1 athlete at this point. I'm jacked. I don't think I'm going to look good next to Anna Kendrick and I love my body. And so then I go in and supposed to be like this thing and I'm like, I'm fucking jacked. Like, what's up? Like, and I'm supposed to be like, don't, you're a bitch. It's like, fuck.
People are so, and you know what? That actually brings me to a theory that I have in terms of like the industry.
Okay.
And I do, a part of me wants to give a disclaimer if we have industry listening because
girls, listen up, and it's okay. We love you. We're holding your hand when we say this.
Exactly.
I guess what we
like,
literally do.
It's like,
okay,
it's like I don't think the industry, like everybody just wants somebody else to tell them what funny is.
I'm waving at the screen. Yeah, 1000%.
Like nobody, like I remember doing things for like, it's like a room of 20-year-olds. Like it took me forever to be like, you don't know. I know what funny is. As the artists, we decide what it is. And we think that these gatekeepers are the ones that tell us what it is, but they have no idea. No one knows.
Have you talked to Hannah Kitzinger before?
Maybe.
Hannah's an incredible producer, but she used to work on like Ellen and like in these spaces with these like big wigs and these like,
oh wow.
And in the space when she was coming up, it was like with things who have no fucking idea. And she said she would like tell them a joke or whatever, and they'd be like, seems kind of coastal. And like, and it was like, it just struck me. She said this at the State of Comedy. She said this at the show, and she was talking about it, and it was just like, to watch her, and of course we have people like her in spaces now, but like back then it's like, no, it was people who have no idea what comedy was. It's their niece says they like this person, so put this pop star in this comedy role and let's see how it goes. What?
Yes, it is so, and it's like I used to just idolize them because I thought, oh, they know funny, they know everything, and it's like they don't know anything. I'll never forget. I had a meeting with Netflix. Mateo Lane and I had a show for many years that we pitched to every network and
should have been a
their
fucking
mom,
show.
and nobody wanted it.
And
we had a meeting with Netflix, and I was eating a banana, and it was before the meeting started. We were like in like a waiting room, and like the head of comedy at Netflix literally came over, and I was just eating this banana, and he goes, and I was laughing at something, but he goes, what's wrong with you? And Mateo and I talk about it to this day. He goes, what? The head of comedy at Netflix.
I'm sorry, what?
Looked me up and down and said, what is wrong with you? Because he didn't know. And he wasn't laughing like it wasn't a funny joke. He was like, there's something wrong with this girl, and I want her to tell me what it is.
What an insane thing to say. What an insane... You're in a position of power. We're comedians.
And it was before the meeting even started, so I had to sit there during the whole meeting and be like, well, the show has 3 parts. And
the only way this is like in any way redeemable is like we cut to you eating the banana and you're just like psychotically deep throating it.
That's what I should have done.
I know, you should have eaten the peel. Like, oh, and like that before the meeting, and then you go in, you're like, but then the worst part is like when it's like bro comedy guy who thinks he's ribbing with you, and then you're just like supposed to take that before the meeting and be like, yeah, something's wrong with me anyways.
Literally. And like the guy, you know, and then I'm trying to pitch my idea to a guy whose idea of a joke is like a timely, like, that's what she said. It's like, why are we in the same room? Like, this doesn't even matter. Like, nothing I say is going to impact you because you think that's what she said is the pinnacle of humor.
I like...
And I'm not the comedy police, and I really don't want to make it seem like I know everything about everything because I don't. But also, I'm not the head of comedy at a network either.
This is what I mean, where I'm like, listen, a well-timed that's what she said, it will take me out. It'll have me on the floor. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Time and place, person. Time. Who's saying it? Is it, you know, like, is like if you know, Don Trump or whatever the brothers, Eric Trump is going, that's what she said, I want to kill myself, right? Because he actually means it from a place of hell. But like, if, you know, like Tig Notaro is like, I'm like, that's pretty funny. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's like context. Everything's context. It is context. It's absolutely context. And you're right. I mean, I would, that's what she said would take me out. Yeah, it takes me out. It, unfortunately, really. If somebody, I've had to accept that about myself. It's like, there's a lizard part of my brain. If somebody's like, looks pretty hard, I'm like, I mean, no one said it. I just thought it. I'm like, I'm out. There is nothing on God's green earth that is funnier to me than like physical comedy. And like if somebody falls, if somebody like gets hurt a little bit, but they're okay, but they're a little embarrassed, like I will laugh until the end of time. Like I also learned, I don't like smart comedy. Like people that are so smart. And it's so funny because I like to smartly observe comedy. And do you like smart dumb though? Yes. Okay. I don't want to have to like think. Okay. I don't want to have to think. I like comedy to be entertainment personally. And again, this is interesting. I mean, there are brilliant comedians who are brilliant at what they do, but I like very simple or simple, I don't know, I guess an execution, because maybe it's like they're thinking about it and it's more nuanced than it seems, you know? Yes, because did you ever watch Would I Lie to You, the British quiz show? No. It's a quiz show. It's like 2 truths and a lie, essentially, but there's 2 different like leads of each team, and Lee Mack is a comedian and David Mitchell is the other one. And I think they're the embodiment of like smart dumb and smart. Like Lee Mack is like but really smart with his timing, and David Mitchell is like, in World War II, blah blah blah, like, and it's great. I want to watch that. I also love 2 truths and a lie. It's like one of my favorite. I'm addicted to it. Because then I feel like I'm a genius. Because I'm like, well, the way your nails are filed means that you probably couldn't. And you talked really slow when you were saying number 2. So you're probably having to think of it. That's why 2 is the lie. Exactly. It's like we all have our little Sherlock hat on. We're like, indubitably. Okay, wait. I'm going to be a good podcast host because we do have a final segment. We're having you back to host me and also talk more about comedy. And I'm obsessed with you. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. Because also, like, I want for folks even to come back to like get more into the weeds of like actually making a TED Talk, because the process of that, of being like, is a process I can't wait to hear about. But we have a final segment. And this one is called Thank You for Holding My Poems. And it is inspired by the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova, who during the Great Terror in Russia, it was illegal to publish poems of resistance. And so what I found so meaningful was her and the creative community she was in, the writers, all memorized edits of each other's poems and works because they couldn't be written. And to me, it is so moving to be held as an artist in an unfinished state, with the desire of a slight edit, with messiness. And so a poem to me can be any moment in an artist's life where they feel seen or connected to another. And so I say my examples are, it could be on your worst day when a barista says they really like your shirt and it makes you feel like you did something or are someone. Or it could be when you painted the Sistine Chapel. And, so a poem is very abstract, but I usually say whatever comes to mind in a moment you felt held by yourself or another artist, please share with us. We'd love to hold that poem.
I'm excited to share mine. I teach a class for 7 to 10-year-olds at a local community center. And it's called LOL, Comedy for Kids.
Cute. Perfect. They don't even know what LOL means. They're so
like,
young.
I know. They're like, you going to LOL today? It's like so cute. And
you're going to LOL today? I'm gonna
it's
cry.
so freaking cute. And so last year, after we had like a graduation show, it was the best. I went on Amazon and I got these little golden plastic trophies that were microphones. And then I put everyone's name. Like I just like put their name and I put like LOL comedy, but it like looked really cute. So there's a girl in my class. She was in my class last year and she's so special to me. I had such a great group, but she has had an extraordinarily difficult life for many reasons. She's been through so much and she had to move. She had to move recently and she had to move into a new room, but it was very new and, because she had to kind of move, no real notice and things. And I have a friend who is close with her as kind of a mentor. And my friend told me that when she went to go see this girl's new room, the what she had on her nightstand was the trophy that I gave her from last year. And it wrecked me. Like it weeping. It has meant more to me. Because it's so symbolic of like, you might not know. Like for me, it's like I went on Amazon and I gave everyone in the class one, but it lives on her nightstand.
Oh my God.
And it's you might think that you're not making any kind of an impact, but you don't know the impact you have on people. And I would not know that. I would not know. I wouldn't have expected it. And it means everything to me.
That feels like a heavenly anchor in a moment where it's like, hey, do not forget like how deep your impact is right now.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like those kids, like these moments where it's like, remember when someone told you were funny and then you believed you could do anything? It's like you told this kid that she was funny and like that means something to her. That means something that she wants to see every day. Fuck. That is so beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, I love her so much and I love working with kids and I love what comedy can do for them and how they can help. It just helps. It's life skills, it's communication, how they express themselves, confidence, public speaking, anything.
And also the bookend in the end, right? Like you're teaching them the relationship with comedy, right? Early to use it not as a cope, but as a friend, right? Like as something that isn't a mask, but it is like a lens they can use if they need to.
Oh, yeah. And even teaching, hey, what's funny to some people isn't funny to other people. And let's pay attention to, if we're laughing with someone or if we're laughing at them. And how is that different? And how does that make you feel?
Which is so impactful to teach by experience instead of saying, don't do that, you're an asshole. Like, it's like, no, teach that.
Right. When they're like, I don't know. I saw a kid at recess say this and it got a huge laugh. And I just want to get a huge
That's what
laugh.
we're
They don't know. And it's like they need a space to explore and figure that out. And I like to give them that safe space.
I'm so happy they have that. I really am. In like a space where it's like what we're talking about, like messy, like a space to mess up.
Yes.
Please, people need that. Like that's heavenly to create. Oh, I love that so much.
I love that question though, Mo. Thank you for asking it.
Oh, I love you so dearly. Can you let my listeners know where they can find you, what you want them to consume or not consume at this current point in time?
Yes. Go to ChristiSommersComedy.com. I'm on socials at Christi Somers. I love Mo and I'd love to connect with you. So don't be a stranger. And I'm so happy. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this was heaven. And I end every episode with a compliment. I give the same one regardless of gender to each guest, but I mean it different every time. But from the bottom of my heart, I say to you and my audience, oh my God, you're so pretty. You are, every part of you. Yay! Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek is hosted by me, Mo Fry-Pasek. You can learn more about this week's guest and the Worse Than You team by checking out the show and episode copy. Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek is executive produced by Erica Ghetto, Mariah Gossett, and Lauren Mandel for Good Get and Disco Nap Productions. Oh my God, you're so pretty. We in the club.
We ride slow. And it's like, they always got room for our names in the bucket.
Now that's a
good
good get.
Baby, that's a good get.